With all of the talk about electric vehicles, you might not realize another promising non-fossil fuel alternative is out there: hydrogen. It's a great fuel in liquid form. The challenge is generating it. Well, now the Defense Innovation Unit has been exploring ways to make hydrogen fuel locally where it's consumed, and it awarded contracts to 2 companies for mobile hydrogen generation under its HITECH program. Joining me with the details, DIU Program Manager Andrew Maudsley, and from one of those contractors, Nova Spark Energy, Lanson Jones. Gentlemen, good to have you with us.
Hi, Tom. Great to be here.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having us.
Okay, and let's start with you, Mr. Maudsley from DIU. Tell us about the HITECH, very clever name, Hydrogen Tech HITECH program. What's this all about to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. So HITECH, an acronym, it stands for Hydrogen at the Tactical Edge of Contested Logistics. And, like many other programs that DIU advances, we partner with the military services to really act on behalf of the joint force and combatant commands to identify areas where there are commercial technologies out there that we can really leverage and prototype to get in the hands of the warfighters much faster than kind of conventional methods. And so in this case, we're working on behalf of the Marine Corps Expeditionary Energy Office, as well as the Naval Information Warfare Center Pacific, NIWC PAC, and really advancing this requirement to identify a way in which we can generate hydrogen at the tactical edge and taking water, converting it into hydrogen to be able to power different unmanned aerial systems, vehicles, balloons, small unit power capabilities that are really strategically important to some of the operational planning that is going on across the entire joint force.
Sure. So this is part of that bigger picture of energy independence and getting away from fossil fuels, which have a big logistics chain. This would be a way of generating this fuel right there on the spot.
Absolutely. I mean, in so many of the strategic planning circles, leaders talk about the contested logistics challenge, whereby a lot of the wargaming suggests that in a contested environment, there are vulnerabilities and limitations in terms of the fuel supply chains. And so the more and more we can make different kind of remote forces energy resilient and less dependent on those fuel supply chains, the more we're going to be able to persist in certain operations in a distributed environment.
All right, and let's move to Mr. Jones from Nova Spark Energy. What is the challenge in making hydrogen locally, and what is the form in which it's supposed to end up? In other words, we don't want a whole bunch of miniature Hindenburgs out there.
Yeah, so the unique solution that we've created combines atmospheric water generation, where we actually suck the water from the humidity in the air, but we uniquely do it using a technique that uses about 30% less power. So we get the water more efficiently. We only need 30% humidity, which is most of the availability on Earth has 30% humidity. And then we combine it with electrolysis, but we have a unique electrolysis that allows you to throttle with renewables and turn on and off. So you can create on the spot, on the go. You can turn it off and then move the mobile unit and then set it back up and quickly start creating hydrogen again. And we store it at gaseous high pressure. So we have this 35 bar, and then we have a hydraulic boost technology that takes it from 35 bar to 300 bar and 700 bar. And the safety issue, we can actually, with our tanks, they are rated for a 50 cal bullet and still be safe and be able to handle that. And we're working on other solutions that could even possibly store hydrogen at standard temperature and pressures.
Sure. And let me just ask this about the whole idea of hydrogen energy. Does less energy go into making it than you get out of it? Or is it an ultimate loss of energy, even though you have a fuel that will power something?
So there is a loss of energy, but those efficiencies are being worked on. In our R&D lab, we have unique methodologies that we're testing right now to increase those efficiencies. One is bubble-free technology that allows much higher efficiency. So we're talking about 95%. A company out there called Hystata has already proven you can do this, and we're working on ways to do it even better. And it's 95% efficiency. And then you require power to pressurize it. And that obviously consumes energy. That's why we're working on things that can store hydrogen at standard temperature and pressure. And that's on our roadmap in the long run to make it so you have the highest efficiency possible and you can create the most amount of hydrogen possible with the energy available.
We're speaking with Lanson Jones. He's Chief Innovation Officer at Nova Spark Energy, and with Andrew Maudsley, a Program Manager at the Defense Innovation Unit. And Andrew, what is the envisioned source of power for the hydrogen generator such that you don't stay in the logistics tail of fuel problem?
Yeah, exactly. So, one of the advantages of the system that we're sourcing is the ability to use renewables on site or at the tactical edge, as we call it. So in this case, the Nova Spark generator using a combination of solar and wind power to be, to generate the power for this system to produce the hydrogen, right? So then as a result, we're just not dependent on these, fuel supply chains to persist in operations. You can imagine the ability to have distributed units with this kind of a system that can persist in certain critical operations in support of any type of effort to deter, defend, or fight a war if necessary.
And the resulting hydrogen and the propulsion systems that consume it, is this similar to what we've seen in rare instances so far, but there have been some, I guess, almost experimental automobiles that use hydrogen? I don't know what the technology is, but it fits under the hood of a car. Is this the same basic technology here?
Yeah, I'll let maybe Lanson weigh in a little bit more, assessing, what he would say is the similarity between, their solution and the type of things that it powers as well as vehicles. But I would comment on just a few, call it tactical advantages of leveraging fuel cell platforms, as we call it, for military applications, because they are a little bit more unique than vehicles. But some of the things that are very attractive to military planners about leveraging fuel cells are the longer flight times or drive ranges, whether you're using an unmanned aerial system or like a tactical vehicle that operates on a fuel cell. Additionally, for these platforms or systems, there's a much lower electronic signature, which is pretty important in certain military environments. There's a lower maintenance requirement for sustaining operations of these capabilities. And like we've kind of discussed before, higher energy resilience, and most importantly, reduced dependence on fuel supply chains, which are vulnerable to disruption and attack in a contested logistics environment.
Lanson?
So in this unique solution, yes, a fuel cell and gaseous tank storage is how the current hydrogen cars are modeled. And with our unit, it is very similar to that, except we're creating the actual hydrogen on the spot. So we're vertically integrating all aspects from getting the water, getting the power, splitting that water to create hydrogen through electrolysis process, and then we store it in the gaseous form. And like I said earlier, we use a unique hydraulic boosting technology, and that allows for the highest reliability and the highest safety for putting it under high pressure.
Sure.
And it also uses the lowest amount of energy.
A couple of questions here. One for Andrew. You mentioned that with fuel cells, you're going to have longer flights and drive distances. Is that relative to battery-powered, which is kind of a dead end for flight or any kind of a heavy vehicle, or relative to the conventional ways they're powered now?
Yes, I mean, for sure relative to battery power, and then, regarding or in comparison to traditional bulk fuel might really vary. But again, this is kind of a unique value proposition for military applications where we're really trying to get around the dependency and the expectation that we're going to be able to ship fuel from various locations and distribute it to different areas in theater, right? So we're just trying to create innovative solutions that we know exist in the commercial market and really adopt them for military applications.
And Lanson, how big is this thing? Is it the size of a washing machine, the size of a semi-trailer, or what?
It's